Tom Jones, the name is enough. His voice, his appeal, his presence on stage. But behind all that glitter and glamour, there was someone who got under his skin like nobody else. His songs were adored, his energy contagious, and he was larger than life. But few people knew about a tension that followed him for years. It wasn't just some minor tiff. It was a deep, abiding feud that did shape some of the choices he made about music and life. What happened and with whom is a story full of surprises, and it's one which few have ever heard. Early life and career. Tom Jones was born Thomas John Woodward on June 7, 1940, in Trevorest, Wales, to humble beginnings. His father, Thomas Woodward, was a coal miner, and his mother Frida brought him up with the essence of family values. Tom was essentially English, though he had some Welsh roots from his mother's side. Young Tom had a liking for singing, performing in family gatherings, weddings, and school functions. Music was the only thing that bolstered his confidence, as school and sports had never fascinated him. When he was 12, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis. He spent 2 years confined to his bed, surviving on music and drawing. Later, he would refer to it as the worst period of his life. Jones's musical career really started in 1963, when he took over as the lead singer for Tommy Scott and the Senators, a Welsh beat band, gaining local attention. Early solo attempts at recording tracks with the producer, Joe Meek, failed. But it wasn't long before fate started to intervene. Decca producer Peter Sullivan witnessed the band performing and connected them with manager Gordon Mills. Mills offered the struggling Thomas Woodward his now famous stage name of Tom Jones, named from a 1963 hit film, and launched him on the path to fame. By the end of 1964, Tom issued his first single, Chills and Fever. It didn't impress. However, the following one, It's Not Unusual, was an instant international hit. It reached the top of British charts and entered the American top 10, placing him instantly among the front-runners of the British invasion. Mills secured him theme songs for several films, among which were Thunderball and What's New Pussycat. Tom was at first dubious about the latter, but was talked into it by Burt Bacharach, and it went on to become iconic. His fame reached further heights when he received the Grammy Award as Best New Artist in 1966. About that time, he met Elvis Presley on a set in Hollywood. They became friends. The late 1960s brought changes. Jones' popularity waned, and Mills reinvented him as a crooner, expanding his musical style. Delilah, I'll Never Fall in Love Again, and I'm Coming Home were just 3 hits that solidified his position at the top of both the UK and US charts. Tom also became a fixture on television with This Is Tom Jones 1969 to 1971, finding enormous international exposure and a Golden Globe nomination. During the 70s and 80s, he tried his luck with country music, acted in various TV films, and continued performing in Las Vegas to keep his energy and style alive. The chart revivals that happened along the way included the 1987 single A Boy From Nowhere and the 1988 cover of Prince's Kiss with Art of Noise that took hold at MTV. The 1990s and 2000s brought even more success his way. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1989, collaborated with Van Morrison, performed at Glastonbury, and released successful albums like Reload in 1999. He was knighted in 2006 for services to music and continued touring worldwide, performing at major events, collaborating with younger artists, and mentoring on The Voice UK from 2012. Well into his 70s and 80s, Tom Jones continued creating music. He released albums entitled Praise and Blame, Spirit in a Room, and Surrounded by Time, all of which represent his versatility and enduring passion. His career has spanned over 6 decades and sold more than 100 million records worldwide. From humble small-town beginnings in Wales to global superstardom, the story of Tom Jones is one of talent, resilience, and an undying love for music. His personal life. Tom Jones's personal life has mostly been as event-filled as his musical one. He was married to his school sweetheart Melinda Rose Linda Trenchard from March 2nd, 1957, until she died of cancer on April 10, 2016. They married when they were only 16 after discovering she was pregnant, and their son Mark was born shortly later. In those early days, Jones worked construction jobs and at a glove factory to support his young family, long before his name became famous worldwide. Despite his many well-publicized affairs, he remained married to Linda for nearly 6 decades. Their bond showed even through turbulent times. After her death, he granted her final wish by selling their Los Angeles mansion and most of its contents, retaining cherished family photos and moving into an apartment in London. At the height of his fame, Tom Jones' legendary charm and on-stage presence made him irresistible to many, and he unashamedly declared he was sleeping with hundreds of women. He boasted he bet up to 250 groupies per year in his peak years. Some of his better-known flings included singer Mary Wilson, TV host Charlotte Laws, and former Miss World Marjorie Wallace. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, aka actress Cassandra Peterson, once opened up that she lost her virginity to Jones. It was painful enough that she needed stitches. One of Jones' affairs resulted in a son. During a U.S. tour in October 1987, he had a brief relationship with model Catherine Berkery, who discovered she was pregnant. After a lengthy legal battle, DNA testing proved in 1989 that Jones was indeed the father. He publicly denied the claim for many years, but later acknowledged it in 2008, although he never pursued a relationship with his son, Jonathan Berkery, who followed in the footsteps of his father to become a singer as well. In 1974, with the election of a Labour government in Britain and the imposition of a 98% income tax rate, Jones became a tax exile. He had already bought a mansion back in 1976 from Dean Martin, located in Eastgate Bear, Los Angeles, for $500,000 and later sold it in 1998 to Nicolas Cage. He also reported to have a close friendship with an idol Elvis Presley. They met for the first time in 1965 at Paramount, on the film set where Elvis was shooting Paradise, Hawaiian style. The close friendship flowered into Las Vegas, where they would spend long nights singing and socializing into the early hours of the morning. The friendship lasted until Presley died in 1977. Decades later, it was alleged that Jones had been romantically linked to Presley's widow, Priscilla. In 2021, Jones said they knew each other since the 60s, but were just friends. In 2015, Jones released his autobiography, Over the Top and Back, which gave a very lively glimpse into the life and career of this true show business legend. Critics described the book as entertaining, capturing both the story of The Voice and the evolution of British pop and light entertainment from the 1960s onward. Even in recent years, he has maintained his health and vitality, revealing in 2021 that he uses inversion therapy to stay fit and active, a reflection of lifelong commitment to keeping both the body and voice in top shape. Tax exile. Back in the mid-1970s, Tom Jones made a fairly contentious move that caused quite a stir at the time. He left the UK, setting up home in the United States. And the reason? Taxes. This extremely high tax rate made a lot of big earners think hard about staying in Britain, and Tom Jones was one of them. According to his biography, he became what's known as a tax exile to avoid giving such a huge portion of his income to the UK government. In 1976, he made a very public statement of this by buying a mansion in Los Angeles, a bear house at 363 Copa de Oro Road, which he purchased from Dean Martin for about $500,000. Living in the U.S. meant he could retain far more of his earnings than he would have in the U.K. at those punishing rates. His decision didn't go unnoticed or uncriticized. To some people,